Good morning. It seems that Anthony Albanese is going flat out to hand our country over to foreign entities. Somehow he thinks he has authority. Well, show me in the Constitution where you get it from, Anthony, because you can't. You are a dishonest, deceptive person. You should be removed from office because you're a tainted of treason. Why? Because I already said you are. You see, in 2017, I seized the 3 lawful tiers of the Parliament of Western Australia. Why? Because they weren't being used. Since January the 1st, 2004, on the so-called introduction of the Acts Amendment Repeals Court and Legal Practice Act, this state claimed that it was an entity unto itself, one that's not known by the Constitution. That, of course, is a rotten lie. But that's all about Socialist, left-wing, Labour, Liberal, Nationals and Greens. You're all the same. Don't say you're not. You are. Then you get people like Ian Toomey and Dave, the red-headed wonder from Western Australia, who knows everything about everything. You claim Magna Carta and all those things are just acts. And Toomey, you claim the Green Constitution and Red Constitution are the same. No, they're not. The red one's approved by the people. It's whereas the people, so we approved it. The green one is copyrighted to the political parties. So we didn't approve it. So it's got no rights. It's not only copyrighted to them, somehow it was approved by Dr. John Quick and Sir Robert Garran. John Quick died in the 1930s. Sir Robert Garran around 1957. How did you get that? Go back in the time machine? Well, that's about the strength of your brain. But anyway, let's not let truth get in the way of your lies. The subject matter is what Albanese has been doing. But before I get there, I have to reiterate the fact that I seized the 3 lawful tiers of the federal parliament in 2019. Why did I do it? Everybody said, why did you do it? Simply because I can. Simply because the law allows me to do it. Can I do it? Yes. Did I do it? Yes. Was it filed in England? Yes. So it's active right now. And Toomey will tell you, oh, the government did this. They had the right to change Magna Carta. And Toomey, Magna Carta is not a law. It's a charter of rights taken from King John by a group of people working for the people of England. They're called barons. They took King John out and they said, sign this, we'll whack your head off. So he signed it. He also knew he was wrong. Oh, the story is going around that King John went to the Pope and changed it. King John couldn't go to the Pope and change anything because the Pope had no dominion over England. Of course, you'll disagree with that. And on paper, he technically did. Now let's look at the facts here. I seized the 3 lawful tiers of the federal parliament. I seized all your acts, statutes, rules, regulations, all your mandates, your policies, every bit of nonsense that you call law, none of which is law. Why? It never followed due process. If you don't follow due process, you have a problem. It doesn't exist. What was due process? If you passed those acts in a lawful parliament, which you did not, because you didn't have one, you would have the ability then to put it to the governor or Governor General if it complied with the Constitution, but none of it does. You have no authority to rise up above the authority granted to you or what grants it to you. You can't do it. Since I seized it, everybody keeps saying, what'd you do? What'd you do? Why'd you do it? I did it for a day like today, which I'll come back to. Now let's go back to Federation. At Federation, 6 states were created by 107, 108 and 109 of the Constitution. and they draw their authority referentially from that constitution. The states to be constituted by their constitutions, in other words, authorised, had to comply with 106, and they didn't. Western Australia did not. It put a constitution in place with 32 sections missing. Now there's so many arguments, getting rid of a fly, so many arguments around that, oh, we didn't go into federation at the same time as everybody else. Well, actually we did, because I've explained that before. And if you like to go to the Church of England office, which is now Anglican office, in St George's Terrace, the proclamation by Queen Victoria that we will go into it is on the wall there. It's there. It is fact. It is law. Now, what you are throwing around, you are saying is truth. No. Socialist ideal is to lie for the better good. Where does it come from? Right back to the Egyptians. Read the book of Exodus and Genesis, all about Moses, and you'll see what Pharaoh said. It's for the better good. Everything's for the better good. They just lie for the better good. Do this for the better good. And I believe the oath that lawyers take is to lie for the better good. I don't agree with it. A lot of them don't and don't do it. I respect their ability to do that. That's a good thing in a city of lies where you tell the truth. Now, I know the Liberal Party, Labor Party, Nationals and Greens, they'll all lie for the better good because they lie just by being there. You have no lawful right to be there. You have no lawful right. If you do, show me in the Constitution where it says you can have political parties. Show me where you can have premiers. Show me where it says you can have a Prime Minister. The Prime Minister has to be the Speaker of the House because there's no other position that he could fill and even talk. What about the executive government? They put legislation together. Why is a browbeating, lying pack of clowns putting our legislation together? Because they're criminals. Are they? Yes. You know, people say, oh, the Aboriginals aren't in the Constitution. They're actually in the state constitutions. They've always been there. They're called natives. The reason you don't call them natives because you've realised exactly what I knew as a child. If you're born here, you're native to this country, you're a native. If you're born here, you're indigenous to this country. You look at your dictionary. If you can't figure that out, I suggest you go back to school and study English and learn to read. It says that. Now, the reason for seizing the 3 tiers of the federal government, because it's never operated under there. It's never existed in law. Go back to the fact that Western Australia never put its constitution in place and never has. It was operating under a 1899 Act of the State Parliament, which was nullified by Clause 7 of the Constitution. I don't need to go into that. The Constitution is very clear. If it's not in Section 51 after Federation, they didn't have the legislative authority to do it. So the Act is invalid. The Police Act is invalid. Transfer of Land Act is invalid. Try and say it's anything else, you're just lying to us. And there's no better good in that, except for you, your pockets. And that's obvious with Albanese, with his massive big house he bought, and now he's trying to build a nice big fat road past his house, make everything look. But that's an earthly thing, mate. You've probably got another 30 or 40 years on this earth if someone doesn't get to you first, and then you go into a barbecue. You're going down. You're going to pay for what you're doing. All of yous. Penny Wong, look in the mirror. What I want you to do, you politicians, is look at the mirror and point at yourselves and say, what have I done for this country? Not what have I done for myself. What have I done for my ideals, my mates, the Fabian Society, the Freemasons, the Zionists, the Druids, the Buffaloes, and all the rest in the little group of elites. Point at yourself and say, what have I done for the people? It's amazing, you know, the lies that come up and the things that are done to prohibit the truth. Albanese, you're trying to say, I can legislate to control. No, you can't. And sorry, Pauline Hanson's mate, you've got a good brain, but you need to attach the Constitution to it. We don't have to prove we have freedom of speech. We have freedom of every movement you can think of because we're sovereign and supreme. Why? Because our framers made it that way. You can't prove it's anything else. Our framers said we're sovereign and supreme. They said we have everything ourselves. Whatever we say goes, but you never ask us, because the Albanese, politicians in this world, and some professors think they know everything. You know, street, nothing. Zero. All your acts and statutes are under seizure under Magna Carta. So, Antomy, Magna Carta isn't a couple of things left in there. Magna Carta is a charter. It is a covenant put there by the barons. Has it been changed? A couple little places, yes, by the House of Lords, who were the barons. They are the people, the only people, who could make an alteration to it, right up until the 16th century. After that, it was sealed with a royal seal. I have looked at everything in relation to the Constitution, and the ability for a political party or any person to change the Constitution, there's none. The Commonwealth Constitution Act 1900 UK was sealed by a patent by Queen Victoria on the 29th of October 1900. It was proclaimed on the 9th of July 1900. It is not our Constitution. It is an act which grants us the authority to have a Constitution, subject to that Constitution. So if the Parliament is not supreme in the Act, which it isn't, it's not supreme. If it doesn't have plenary powers, then they don't have any. It specifically has to be granted by that Act, because that's the only authority we got. You can lie, you can carry on, you can say, we're a sovereign nation, we became one this time, that time, no you didn't. No you didn't. We joined together in one indissoluble federation of the Commonwealth of Australia. We joined together. We the people joined. The Parliament did not. The Parliament didn't even exist when we joined together. Read Clause 7. Look at federation. Who joined together? The colonies became states, but they were already gone under Clause 7. The people who were the colonies became the people who now are the states. Read it and weep, comprehend it. But I believe you know that, Antomy. You're just a Labor Party lackey, or a political party lackey. Either way, you are still a lackey for a purported government which isn't one. We have a government. There's 3 tiers: executive, legislature and judicature. If you can't work that out, get another job. You're in the wrong place. You're teaching nonsense. Am I correct? Yes. Now get to Magna Carta. Every single part of it is complete. It's a forever law, sealed with a royal seal in 1600. Read the Laws of England from Lord Macaulay. He wrote it. 4 books, right to the death of William III. Now you can sit in your little office, you can sit on YouTube, oh look at the lovely things you're spreading out that favour all the political parties and enslave the people. That's exactly what you're doing. So that enslavement is treason. So you politicians, when you're pointing at yourselves in the mirror, tell yourselves you're traitors, because you are. Now I'm repeating everything I've said previously, so you're aware of what I say. So now you're attainted of treason. So you've got 2 lots of 25 years imprisonment. Now you're going for the big jump. A few weeks ago, because we've never had a lawful federal parliament, I've got to put that in there. That's why I seized it, because it wasn't being used because it didn't exist. It hadn't existed because we needed 6 states, 6 of them, 6 states, to create the first lawful parliament, federal parliament. How is it created? When the state parliaments were elected. Western Australia couldn't. Its constitution wasn't in place. When they were elected, the governor of the state had to put together a pool of people. There were no political parties then, so don't say there was. They were trying to sneak in the door with the Labor Party, but we're not going to deal with that bit. What took place is the first lawful election, except for Western Australia. Why? Because they didn't have the correct constitution. Because it was a letters patent, it could not be used to establish the first state of Western Australia, nor was it. I'm in this state. I've looked at all the law, I've read all the laws, and believe me, there's a huge amount. But you can read it, you can understand it. It's written for people like me as well as you people that all the brains of this country can understand. We can too, because it's written for us. It's not written for you. You're just the bird brains come in the top and think you're taking everything, but you're not. You would love to. But these 5 states, even though they had an election to create their states, we didn't. So Western Australia has never been lawfully constituted under this state constitution, which takes out all the so-called legislative authorities on page 936 that and Toomey sprouts, it allows local government. But even if that was in lawfully, the local government is the one created by the state parliament. It is the state parliament. Can they delegate authority? No. If I'm wrong, show me in the constitution where it says it. It doesn't. I'll tell you that, it doesn't. I've read it from one end to the other that many times. If you say it does, you're lying. You're lying. You green one, if it does, just throw it in the bin. It's a bit of rubbish. We didn't approve it. We didn't approve a constitutional convention in 1988. The political parties did to cover up their previous crimes, which they knew about. They knew about it. I had all the documents proved it. I handed it to a person I know who could do something about it. Nothing's ever been done. It's been concealed by the people he gave it to. Concealed the fact that you lied, stole, and took everything belonging to the people. Now, where is the problem laying now? We've never had a lawful federal parliament. How can you have a federal parliament when you don't have the representatives of the 6 states required by the Constitution to create the first parliament? We didn't have it. Doesn't exist. No federal law whatsoever exists. So when Billy Hughes introduced preferential voting, he was sitting in treason. It doesn't exist. Conscription, it doesn't exist. Hang on a sec. Yeah, I'll read that later. I don't care what he's saying. I'm not interested in people's comments. Read your constitution, you'll find out I'm correct, you're wrong. Now, nothing that happened before federation in this country or outside this country has any bearing on our constitution, I'll tell you that. Only what was accepted by the constitution into this country. If you want to understand that, come and see me, I'll show you and explain it to you. It's quite clear. You can't lie that into place or any of these things, and I'm not talking about the person I was just talking about. Now, what you need to understand, if there was never a federal parliament, there was no conscription, there was no preferential voting. The first insignia for this country was created by Billy Hughes, kangaroo and emu. 43 k's north of here is Northampton. In the museum is a bronze plaque. It says all about the kangaroo and the emu. It's all there. Created by him. Because he wasn't lawful, has no value. Signing the Treaty of Versailles, joining the League of Nations, invalid. King George V came to Australia, 1920, uphold all my great-grandmother's letters patents. It was proclaimed and gazetted in this country what he said. It's there for the record, read it. So all those letters patents continued. Now, Anne Toomey what they did in England is what you're trying to do here. Make out that all the imperial laws, that you're now calling them statutes and acts, so that the Parliament somehow gets authority to walk into this country and change all those things. They never had it. The Constitution's clear. They are just clearing something from my computer, because these junk comes up every time I come on where they try to control what I say, and I'm not going to be controlled. We have freedom of speech as long as whatever we say does not affect any other person. That becomes slander and all the rest of it. But if you're telling the truth, that's not slander, that's truth. Truth brings forth justice to a lot of people, but we must put the truth there, not the lies. There's no lies for the better good. That doesn't have truth. It just has more lies, and all the garbage goes with it. Truth is truth. From truth can come justice, nothing else can. Now, going back to these politicians, you sent our men off to war without any authority. You committed murder on them. There's no other way to explain it. Without authority, they went away. You knew there was a possibility they'll die. You killed them. You murdered them. What annoys me is the ridiculous statements made by politicians. It's my government. I can do this. If you took the time to read the Constitution, Albanese, you know, the one you tried to inflict the voice on us, that even the people that were here rejected the voice. They didn't want it because it wasn't a voice. You're now proving exactly what the people said. The ones you were trying to get there to have a say to Parliament, you were lying to them, misleading them. How do we know that? Because of these so-called laws that you claim to be passing. But to pass them, the House of Representatives is full of people who represent the people. Where are they? Where are these people you say represent the people? They're not there. Where are the senators that represent the people? They're not there. Where's the Governor-General that represents the Crown? She's not there. She works for the WEF. You know you put her there, Albanese. I'm not only attacking you, I'm attacking the criminal crap system that you've put in place. All of yous. Every politician. Every political party. It's an unfortunate thing that everybody who is a member of these political parties is guilty of the crimes as soon as they're revealed. I'm revealing it. What are you going to do? Withdraw your support from them? Your companies, you're going to the wall, and all the people who work for you if you support them. You're going to go to the wall and you're going to pay. You think that these clowns, if you give them this country, are going to come back and reward you and let you live in your lovely big mansions or give you all this stuff. They're going to take it off you. They're going to wipe you out, which is what they've done to everybody else that's ever got in bed with them. Understand, they don't want the truth to come out, because that breaks down their authority. So they'll knock you off, which is what they do. What you need to understand, Albanese, a few weeks ago, and because you sleazed your way in over the last couple of months into what you're trying to do now, it doesn't matter what you say, because you're a nothing with a big mouth who has absolutely no authority. If you've got it, prove it. That's what I'm asking you to do. Prove me wrong by showing me in the Constitution where you can exist and do the things you're doing. You can't do it because you don't. You're just a lying fraud. Am I raving on? No, I'm not. I'm trying to get everybody who can comprehend what I'm saying to understand you're nothing but a lying, filthy traitor to this country, like every politician is. All the people who back them up, you are too. Whether you like it or not, you are. You back up their lies, you're part of it. You back up their crimes, you're part of it. Read your law. It all says so. You're guilty of the offences that they're committing if you don't stop them doing it. Magna Carta grants us a heap of rights. The 1688 Bill of Rights is our rights. Habeas corpus knocks out all your synagogues of Satan, your Star Chamber hearings. That's what it was for. So no single judge can sit in judgment of anybody. The family court's full of them. Do magistrates have the power they're wielding? No. Do I hate the magistrates? No. They didn't do it, the judges did. The judges put this system in place along with the political parties. They've conspired. Go and have a look at where it all comes from. They've conspired to overturn the Commonwealth Constitution Act, 1900 UK. That is a crime against the Crown. Can that be excused by the Crown? No, it can't. Because the Crown isn't supreme. Everybody says it is, but it's not. The Church of England is supreme, or now the Anglican Church, they've gone back. The Protesting Church, which is a Protestant church, which was the Church of England, they are the head of Britain, no one else. Before that, it was a Roman church. That's why all the bishops threw them out, because of the lies and the nonsense that was coming out of there. Don't believe me, it's all written in the history of England. I didn't say it, they did. Now, let's get back to Albanese and his sleazing and trying to hand this country to someone else. Every cent in excess of the government's debts must be returned to the states in relation to head of population. But you haven't been doing it, you political logheads, morons, clowns. You've been stealing it and giving it away in foreign aid. Can you give foreign aid? No. Their gifts got to come from us. It's our money. The Constitution clearly states it must be returned to the states in relation to head of population. So all the money you're given to Ukraine, everything you're given to them, is theft. So Anthony Albanese, how much of the money did you take for yourself? I'm just asking a question. I'm not alleging anything. You've got a lot of money. How did you get that? When you've only been in power, what, less than one term? Or a little bit more? Or you've been in there a couple of years in the Labor Party. Obviously you have. Where did all the money come from that you got? Why didn't you pay tax on it before you got into Parliament? All those questions need to be answered if you want to be taken as credible, as honest. Until then, you're nothing. You're sitting there lying. So what did you do 6 to 8 weeks ago? Oh, you said you claim as a law and it's not. It's a load of nonsense, because I'm coming back to the law part in a minute. And you're going to love me for that. You really are, I bet. Now, you claim you have passed a law saying if the United Nations come in here, their soldiers are exempt for prosecution for what they do. By whom? Do you speak for us? No. Can we take up arms to kill them? Yeah, we can do what we like to them, because they shouldn't be here. They're waging war in this country. If you don't do it, we can. Why? Magna Carta says we can. Clause 61 says clearly, if you're not doing the right thing, we can do it for you. Not in those words. Read it and weep. Every single plea of not guilty, whether it's magistrate's court or whatever, must go to trial by jury if we want it. Nothing to do with if you're magistrates, judges and whatever you want, and the lawyers don't want it. Too bad. It's not your choice. It's ours. Read section 80. It talks about the fact that on an indictment, so upon indictment we can have a trial by jury. Is that the end of it? No. It says that that isn't a guaranteed right of a trial by jury, because a great charter, which is Magna Carta, says it is. Section 39, no person can be deprived of their land or their freedom without the lawful judgment of your peers. The Constitution is clear. Judges, plural, are adjudicators between the law and the people in the case that's before them. Who determines those cases? Not the judges, not the justices, you call them. They don't determine it. It's determined by the jury. Who determines the penalty? The jury. 12 of your peers, or 24 or above, 23 or above for a large jury, which decides the constitutional issues as well, not you. You can, read the Constitution to them and sort that out. So then, after you put through the exemption from any responsibility to United Nations troops, you didn't tell them the ramifications of that, so I will. You then decided that, look at that, you were going to sign us up to the one world government. Who gave you that authority? No one. So that's an act of treason. That's your second one. And your third one was now you've changed the emblem of this country. And you've put United Nations wreath up either side of it. Aren't you a good little socialist? There's only one thing wrong. Where'd you get your authority from? Page 7, I'll be nice to you. Chapter 3, Section 76, page 795, the fourth paragraph. You're exercising authority in this country. That requires you to state where that authority comes from. When are you going to tell us? The problem we have in this country is the political parties are trying to lie themselves into existence. See, when Justice Kirby, I don't know, there's a lot of people don't like him because of his sexual tendencies and that, but he kept it out of his job. So did a lot of other people, so did half the politicians that ran around kissing each other when they decided the plebiscite was law, which it's not unless you can show in the Constitution where it come from. Because a plebiscite is like Act, statutes, rules, regulations, directions, and mandates and all the rest of the crap you come out with trying to justify your authority. Because it's all crap, all lies. Now, the big problem is Kirby said no parliament by preambular assertion can speak an authority into being when none exists in law. In other words, if the Constitution doesn't give you the authority, it doesn't exist. And you have to prove it to us. You have to prove it if you're exercising authority. What really irks me is all the money you've gained, all the money politicians gain before they get out of Parliament. When I get it, they get $250,000, $300,000 a year. If that was lawful, which it is not, you read the Constitution, they get paid for the time they sit. There's no salary, there's no wages. They get paid for the time they sit plus expenses. Because it's an honorary position. You've made it dishonourable, but you don't worry about that minor little problem. Who cares whether the people have any faith in you, because we don't. I know someone just said that their new logo is for the Republic. You haven't got a Republic. We said no. If you say you've got a Republic, people can do what they like to you. Whatever they like. And if you so-called Crown Authority or the public prosecutors, you think I'm saying wrong things, no. Go read it. We are granted rights by Magna Carta. If we exercise those rights, I've already proved you're full of garbage. If you weren't full of garbage, you would have continued the prosecution to go before a grand jury on a voir dire to prove what I said was wrong, that the state constitution of Western Australia was incorrect. But you didn't do that. You took the gutless way out, so you withdrew it. That's why I told the judge, I'm coming back to get you judges, all of yous, not just him. Every judge who lies and commits fraud on this country is going to jail for the rest of their life for treason. You want to opt out right now? Good, opt out. Stand up and say, what I've been doing is wrong, and resign. Get out of there. We need your brains, not the stupidity that's jammed in them. We need intelligent people, not the garbage being fed to them. We don't need Ann Toomey, she's never going to change. And David the red-headed wonder, he's got no hope. He's already bent, saying that the political parties always have had or have control over all the military. No, you don't. Section 68 of the Constitution says that's a lie. Now let's get back to your Acts, statutes, rules, regulations, orders and directions that are being held in fraud by us the people since 2019. I filed the documents, they sit in fraud, so everything you're doing is fraud. Understand that, Albanese? It's treason. It's fraud. It's a lie. And nothing you have passed in the Parliament Since 1960 you didn't have a Governor-General, but nothing passed in the federal parliament has ever been lawful. Every politician in every state that pushed, and the Commonwealth, that pushed those vaccines. I'm not saying they didn't kill people, but the manufacturers are. They're saying there's injured people. You're responsible for every one of those injured people. Hey, Gallagher, you're a liar. We didn't agree. You forced them. As I said before, you do a statement without any threats, promises and inducements. You threaten them, you promise them, and you induce them, get out of your job or get the jab. As a result of that, if someone passed away, I'm not saying they did, or someone got injured, you're responsible. But every single politician who goes in our parliament is responsible. You're responsible for every act of violence and abuse against every child in this country, because you're concealing the sexual immorality ever inflicted on the kids of this country. You people are concealing it. So point at yourself again, all you politicians, and say you're all pedophiles, because you are. If you know and do nothing, you're guilty of that offence. Can you fathom that? Of course you can. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You are liars, you are traitors, you are pedophiles, you are everything you can lay your tongue to, and you're all following the same socialist stupid agenda that somehow your political party knows more than the will of the people. Have you ever asked anybody, do all you people want to live under dictatorial reign from another country? No. So how are you serving us? You're not. You're lying as usual. And every act, statute, rule, regulation, everything, it could be law if it complied with the Constitution and the Governor-General signed off on it. But we don't have a Governor-General, and it's never been signed off. But before it can go to the Parliament, it has to be proposed by the Governor-General in Council at federal level. We don't have one. We don't have a council because we've never had a federal Parliament, and same goes for the states. I'm not interested in people who assume, oh, this happened, that happened, the Queen did this. The Queen did nothing. The Queen did nothing. In 2008, she went before the federal Parliament and said, I uphold all of my great-grandmother's letters patents. So now you've got George V, and now the Queen before she passed away. Then you've got Albanese through the media sneaking out a little saying that somehow the King signed off on that new emblem. He couldn't sign off it if he wanted to. That Constitution Act is binding on him as well. When he swore an oath to the people, not to the whims of a parliament or a political party. He had to make sure that the people approved that change, if it was possible. But because it's a letters patent, our Constitution, from the Act, is a letters patent. Both of them have no authority. So try it on. You're lying. So I'm not going to say anymore. I want people to listen and consider what I've said. Read your Constitution. You'll know I only deal in truth, not the lies of political parties and the lies of the idiots pushing their thing. So you have a very lovely day and rest of your week. Stand up to these clowns and tell them to get out of our parliament. We are paying the idiots for nothing. They say, oh, if you pay monkeys, you get, or hand the politicians peanuts, you get monkeys. We're handing them huge amounts of money and we're getting monkeys with peanuts for a brain. Time to wake up. Have a nice day.